Sometimes the people you least expect are carrying the heaviest stories. It was supposed to be just another night at a martial arts gym. Students training, a sensei showing off his skills, and a janitor quietly sweeping the floor in the background. But when arrogance collided with hidden history, the entire room would witness something unforgettable. A black belt, used to commanding respect, thought humiliating the custodian would make him look powerful. What unfolded instead left every single student speechless, and revealed a truth that would haunt their instructor forever. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above the mats, where students in crisp uniforms practiced their forms with discipline. Sensei Darren Caldwell, a third-degree black belt, thrived in moments like these. His voice carried authority, his presence demanded attention. To his students, he was untouchable. But as Darren barked instructions, his eyes wandered to the edge of the room. There, pushing a mop with deliberate patience, was Ibrahim Traoré, the gym's newest custodian. At 46, Ibrahim didn't speak much. He nodded politely when addressed, kept his head down, and worked quietly until the late hours. For weeks, Darren had ignored him. But tonight, something in Darren's pride itched for another kind of lesson. One that had nothing to do with martial arts philosophy. He called out across the mat, his tone sharp enough to slice through the air. "You there, custodian, ever stepped on these mats before? Or is cleaning them the closest you've ever come to martial arts?" The students chuckled uneasily. Ibrahim paused mid-swipe, his hands tightening on the mop handle. He didn't answer. He had been here before, not in this gym, but in this situation, where dignity was questioned, where silence was mistaken for weakness. What Darren and his students didn't know was that Ibrahim had once been more than a man with a mop. Long before he pushed brooms for a living, his name was whispered in underground rings, remembered by those who had seen him fight. But he had buried that past for reasons more painful than anyone in that gym could imagine. Darren strutted toward Ibrahim, arrogance in every step. "Come on," he smirked. "Show my students what happens when someone who doesn't belong tries to act like a fighter." Nervous laughter flickered around the room. Some students looked away. Others waited, curious. One young student, Maria, shifted uneasily. She had seen this kind of humiliation before. Ibrahim exhaled slowly. He hadn't fought in years. Not since the accident. Not since burying his brother. But Darren's mockery pressed on old scars. "Don't worry," Darren grinned. "We'll take it easy on you. Think of it as a demonstration." Ibrahim set the mop aside, removed his gloves, walked toward the mat with quiet, deliberate steps. "If this is about teaching," he said softly, "then let's make sure everyone learns something worth remembering." The air shifted. The students leaned in. Darren grinned wider, but for the first time, doubt flickered in his eyes. Something about Ibrahim's posture, the calm in his shoulders, the balance in his steps. It didn't belong to a janitor. He raised his fists theatrically, signaling his students to form a circle. "Gather around. Tonight, you'll see why a black belt separates fighters from pretenders." What he didn't see was the storm waking inside Ibrahim. Years of silence, years of guilt, years of dignity buried. Tonight wasn't about pride. It was about truth. The first exchange was over in seconds. Darren lunged with a clean jab, confident. But Ibrahim wasn't there. He slipped aside, effortless, calm. Darren stumbled. Gasps rippled through the circle. The second attack came faster. A flurry of punches. Again, Ibrahim evaded. Smooth, fluid. His movements were almost silent, yet sharp enough to cut air. Maria's eyes widened. The man who emptied their trash was moving like a master. Darren grew desperate. His kicks slashed through the air. His fists hammered with fury. But Ibrahim absorbed it all, redirecting with the smallest shifts of his body. Darren looked like a child flailing in front of his own class. And then came the mistake. Darren launched. A reckless kick, overcommitted. His balance was shattered. Ibrahim didn't strike, didn't punch. He simply placed one hand on Darren's chest and guided him down. The thud echoed through the dojo. Silence followed. The black belt gasped for air, staring at the ceiling. His pride was broken more than his body. Ibrahim didn't gloat. He didn't smile. He simply extended a hand, not to dominate, but to teach. For a long moment, no one moved. The dojo was silent. Ibrahim's voice cut through the stillness. A belt doesn't make you strong. Respect does. Strength isn't about humiliating others. It's about protecting them, even when you don't have to. The words landed heavier than any strike. Maria stepped forward, eyes shining. Others nodded slowly. Their admiration shifted, away from Darren toward the man who wore no uniform, no belt, yet carried mastery in his presence. Darren rose shakily, pale and speechless. His students had seen the truth. His arrogance lay in pieces. Ibrahim picked up his gloves, returned to his mop. His worky son finished. His pastis still heavy. But tonight, he had taught a lesson no kata could ever match. Weeks later, whispers spread. Some dismissed it as a rumor. Others sought him out, desperate to learn. But Ibrahim never wanted recognition. His brother's memory stayed close, a reminder of why he walked away. As for Darren, his reputation never healed. He became a cautionary tale, proof that arrogance blinds and true masters often wear no belts at all. And so the question lingers, how many Ibrahim Traorés walk among us, unseen, carrying stories that could change the way we see strength, forever? If this story gave you chills, make sure to hit the like button so more people hear it. And tell me in the comments, have you ever met someone who surprised you with hidden strength? Don't forget to subscribe, because we share stories that teach life lessons you'll never forget.